Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Well, it looks like the NBA and NHL and the NFL, for that matter, have a plan, and they've kept it quiet no matter how far apart they might have been behind the scenes. Baseball had other ideas, and by going public, they didn't leave much wiggle room on either side. Last time that happened, it took Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa to get baseball back in the public's place of interest. It could happen again if the owners and players don't get this season started, and I don't mean with a 50-game season. Mary-Kay-Cabot is here. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine in its 24th, soon-to-be 25th consecutive season, seen exclusively powered by cleveland.com. Mary-Kay-Cabot of cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer is here. Hi, Mary-Kay. How are you?
I'm doing great, Les. How are you?
You're smiling. Good news. You have some good news to report?
No, just happy to be here with you, talking to all the great fans.
Excellent. All right. Tell me what this all means. The commissioner apparently sent out word to all of the teams that as long as it's okay with government officials, 100 up to 100 people can come back. The coaching staff and other people in the front office can come back. What types of jobs? Obviously, the head coach and the coaching staff would be here. Trainers. What would comprise the 100, and who would get left out on this?
Well, I think the key thing is that coaches can come back into the building starting tomorrow. Now, the first phase, the Browns started their first phase earlier in the week, where other employees were able to come in, but that excluded coaches and players. So having Kevin-Stefanski back in the building, if he's able to get back in there tomorrow or is planning on getting back in there tomorrow, I'm guessing he probably will. I think that is the next big hurdle to getting football back onto the field in the fall. Of course, after this, and Roger Goodell has said he really wants to have players into the facilities, at least some players in the facilities before the end of the offseason program on June 26th. But getting coaches back is big news.
You know, it's interesting when you hear the number 100, you say, "Whoa, that's a lot," but it's pretty easy to sit down with a pencil and paper and start scribbling down positions, and that 100 gets used up pretty quick.
Oh, absolutely. And, there are so many people in so many different departments. And again, I mean, just the coaches alone, you could probably get up to 20, and then you've got the whole personnel staff. So I think it's very, very significant that they are letting these guys back in the building. We talked to Alex-van-Pelt on the phone on a Zoom call yesterday. We talked to Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator, last week. These guys are so eager to get back into the building and to start their job and to really do something other than virtual football.
Well, you've been doing virtual football. What do you think will happen maybe going into next year? Is it possible that something good could come out of this, that you find different ways of coaching, you find different ways of handling certain situations? Is it the kind of thing that you won't see again next year, or do you think they're learning from these Zoom meetings and other things that they're doing, that they have to do? Do you think they're learning anything and may project that into their business next year?
Well, I do think that they're making the most of it, and not only just in terms of installing the offensive scheme and the defensive scheme, but Alex-van-Pelt shared with us yesterday some of the things that Kevin Stefanski is doing to try to foster that team building. Things like a slam dunk contest, a movie poster contest. So, you've got things like that they're doing. I don't think that they will need to use so much virtual technology if the world gets a handle on the COVID-19 situation. I think that they would like to be back to face-to-face. I think they want to be back on the field. Once again, it's a contact sport. Right now, what would be happening is they would be, probably wrapping up a mini camp or getting ready to head into a mini camp this weekend to kind of close it off. And they will have had 10 OTA practices where offense gets to work against the defense, where Joe Woods would get to shake hands with his linebackers and introduce himself and say, hey, maybe you should be my middle linebacker. So I don't think that this is ideal, but I will say I think the Browns have made the most of it.
Who makes the ultimate decision about the season starting whenever they're talking about it? Is it the commissioner? Is it the governors? Is it the president? Is it how does this actually get on the field?
Well, it will have to be a collaborative effort between the NFL and the NFLPA. And, I think even today, as we speak, I think the players are talking about a safe return to facilities. So, I think that's going on. There was supposed to be a conference call today about that. The NFLPA is, safety first is what they're all about. So they want to make sure that their players are safe. They will have to negotiate getting back on the field in a way that their players are comfortable with. So it'll be the NFL, the NFLPA, it will be, all the medical people involved, and then it will be the states. I mean, the governors have to say, yes, you are allowed to do this. Yes, you're allowed to operate in stadiums and you're allowed to operate in your facilities. So
Well,
it will take a little bit of everybody.
Governor DeWine, of course, has two football teams, the Browns and the Bengals. Do you foresee anything that some states will accept it and some won't, so that you have to maybe double up on games or not have home games for some teams? I mean, almost anything can happen here.
Yes, almost anything can happen, but it seems like most states are opening up. Most states are, kind of working together. I think a lot of the governors are talking to each other and working out plans. I know that the sports leagues are talking to all the governors and trying to work through these things to make sure that, they can get these leagues opened up. So if there are a few stragglers, a few states that aren't really ready for complete action, then I suppose that those teams could end up maybe perhaps playing in another state. But I think come September, it seems that most states will be open and ready to go.
Mary-Kay-Cabot is here, cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. You know how you know you're close to the NFL season? When you check the lines in Las Vegas on the games and you find out that Bet Online has come up with week 1. Well, they've come up with week 17 also. But what do you think? The Browns are at the Ravens. What do you think that point spread is? Well, we see right there. Ravens are 8.5-point favorites, but then the Browns are big favorites in games number 2 and 3. Against the Bengals, they're an 8-point favorite, and against the Redskins, a 9-point favorite. And if you follow this stuff, Mary Kay, it just shows you how important it would be to go out at least 2-1 in the opening 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it right there, and you can see how obviously how Vegas feels about this, and it's definitely going to be a very tough way to open the season. But I mean, if you look at last year, the Browns went into Baltimore and they stunned those Ravens. They gave it to them good, 40 points, my goodness, and nobody expected that to happen. And so, once again, nobody gives them much of a chance in this opener, including the point spread. But stranger things have happened.
That's for sure. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-levine at gmail.com. Mary-Kay-Cabot is with us. A lot of stuff starting to happen. Jason LaCanfora has a report on Jadeveon Clowney. We'll talk about that and more when we get back. More Sports and Les-Levine continues in a moment. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine continues. Facebook is where you can find us. Facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. It's pretty simple. We post a question in the morning. You can respond to it and get your name and your thoughts right here on the show from 6 to 7 p.m. live Eastern Time right here on cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Let's check out the birthdays for today. Basketball player Bobby Wanzer, Hall of Famer, 1921. Popsicle, 1947. Tony Pena, former Indians catcher. Xavier McDaniel, Greg Monroe, and the Scottish Hammer, Amy Gillan, all born on June 4th. 216-575-0403. Mary Kay, it took me this long to do it during that whole break, but I finally figured out that this Vegas, the Bet Online people, have the Browns as favorites in 8 games, underdogs in 6, and 2 pick games for the season. So by them, that's a playoff. 8-6 and 2 sounds like a playoff team to me.
Yeah, well, close enough. So,
Close enough.
8 victories, that probably wouldn't get them a playoff berth. But I've been saying all along that I don't think that 8-8 is going to be good enough this year at all. I think that they need to have a winning season, and I think they need to make at least the wild card round in the playoffs and win a playoff game.
All right, Jason LaCanfora reported today the Browns offered Jadeveon Clowney $12 million, a far cry from the $20 million he was asking for originally. The word, according to Jason LaCanfora from CBSSports.com, the word throughout the agent community is that the reportedly super lucrative deal that he turned down from Cleveland would have been worth $12 million at its base. That's a far cry from the $20 million a year ago that Clowney initially wanted on a long-term deal. It's also well below the $16.8 million franchise tag that fellow edge defender Matthew Judon just signed with the Ravens last week. It's not even close, actually. What do you think? Are those numbers right, Mary Kay? Maybe that he was asking 20 and now it's a far cry from that at around 12, which supposedly is higher than anybody else.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to know. It's hard to say exactly if those numbers are accurate or not. But I've been saying all along that I do think it comes down to the money. That I think that if the Browns were meeting Jadeveon Clowney's asking price, giving him what he wanted, I think he would be here by now. I think there are way too many reasons for this to be an attractive job for him to turn it down if he were happy with the money. I mean, why wouldn't you want to play on a defensive line that includes Myles Garrett, Sheldon Richardson, Larry Ogunjobi? You're not going to take all that attention. Myles Garrett's going to get double teamed. It opens up all kinds of things for you. And then, you look across the ball and you've got Baker Mayfield, Odell, Jarvis, Nick Chubb, Austin Hooper, a great offensive line. I mean, there are too many reasons for him to want to come here if the money were right. I'm just not buying that I don't want to play in Cleveland.
Right, and I think he's playing it out for the money because the salary cap-wise, teams that have offered Clowney a contract reportedly, the Browns have $37.2 million on the cap, Titans at $19.3, and the Seattle Seahawks, where he played last year, at $13.9. The Jets just cleared some money in cap space, but reportedly have no interest in Clowney. But that, I mean, if Clowney took Cleveland out of the equation, then the bidders are just about gone. It would leave Tennessee and Seattle, and that would be it.
Yeah. So, I mean, $12 million for, let's say, for instance, he's willing to bet on himself for 1 year. So maybe he does end up here if he feels he can hit the jackpot, go get back in free agency after this year. Maybe he will be willing to sign a 1 year sort of prove it deal for double-digit millions.
Well, especially when the complaint about him out there was, and I don't know who planted the complaint, that if he signed a contract, he wouldn't be putting out as much as he might have otherwise, and that's been the rap, that he doesn't play a full 60-minute game, and I think that may have something to do with it. It may be unfair, but that might be part of it.
Well, that is the reputation a little bit. That is the rap a little bit. And you get that rap when you're the number 1 overall pick. If you're not, a generational player, just playing lights out every single play. But he's a very, very highly rated edge rusher, great run stopper. And I think the Browns would be very, very happy to have him. Joe Woods, when we talked to him, he spoke very highly of him, which also leads me to believe that the Browns are still very interested. So I just don't think it's over yet.
We'll talk about this in a few minutes, but what impression did Van-Pelt put on you yesterday?
Well, you know what? He seems that he is very self-assured. He's very in control of the situation. He's developing really good relationships with the players. They seem to like him. Baker-Mayfield seems to be buying into the program a lot. Alex-van-pelt seems to have reached Baker-Mayfield. He seems to be listening. He has worked with him on his footwork. He's changed the footwork, which, Baker could have said, you know what? No, my mechanics are fine. I'm going to do what I want to do. But he's doing exactly what they're asking him to do, and I think that's vitally important.
I was surprised to hear Van-Pelt talk about Baker-Mayfield coming into the other rooms, the running backs and the wide receivers and all that stuff. I guess I'm naive. I just assumed that was part of what quarterbacks do during the week.
Well, not really necessarily. I mean, they have their own quarterback meetings, they have their own position meetings, and then the other positions have theirs, and usually you're busy with yours. But I think the fact that they are doing this on a Zoom basis lends itself to Baker jumping in on those meetings. And I think that shows initiative on his part. I think it shows leadership on his part. So whether or not all this translates into more victories, he is doing all of the right things so far this offseason.
What about the discussion on who's calling plays and who isn't calling plays? Is that a big deal to you or not?
I actually kind of think it is a big deal, because once you get past those scripted 15 plays or whatever it is, you really have to be able to call a good game. You have to know what you're doing. And that's where Freddie ran into trouble last year. Once they went off script, he really struggled to call a cohesive, strong game, and things just went awry. And, so I think that Alex-van-pelt needs to show that he can do that. And if for some reason Kevin-Stefanski doesn't have a comfort level with the way he's calling the game, he can take it back over. But I actually kind of think that it will start out with Alex-van-pelt calling the plays, so Kevin-Stefanski can kind of be the overseer, the CEO coach.
Yeah, I know when somebody gets a coaching job, and a lot of it is based on what they did, if they hadn't been a head coach, what they did in other position coaches getting set for this. And so Stefanski Freddie Kitchens says, look, this is why I got the job, because of the way I call the plays. But the reality is there's so much going on at the sideline. You don't even know what you're expected to see and do until the first game comes up. And hopefully Stefanski doesn't think it's that important, and he's got enough job security, which I think he does have.
And you know what? If he's better at it than Alex-van-pelt, then he should do it. By all means, he should call those plays. And they will be running an offense that Kevin Stefanski is more familiar with than Alex-van-pelt. So it's more second nature to Kevin Stefanski, because it's the Gary Kubiak system that they ran in Minnesota last year. So if he's better at it, then he should do it. But I really think that he wants to be able to get the big picture. And I think he wants to have, a hand in all three phases of the game.
And he should.
Therefore, I think he wants to see if Alex can handle the chore and that he doesn't have to do it.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-levine@gmail.com. Mary-Kay-Cabot, Plain Dealer, and cleveland.com with us. When we get back, we're going to find out how somebody at ESPN ranks the NFC quarterbacks. I've ranked them by number. We got a number 6, Baker-Mayfield, 7, Big Ben, number 8. You've got the MVP of last year, Jackson, and then you've got Joe Burrow coming up. So it's 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the numbers game here in the AFC North. We'll come back in a moment. Northeast Factory Direct, they've got 3 great locations. You see it right there, West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, Freeway Drive, that's in Macedonia. And, of course, the big website, northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate NatureStone's 30-year anniversary with a free NatureStone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making NatureStone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. How come Ted Stepien was not a good NBA owner, but the league apparently thought his halftime entertainment was ahead of his time? I actually had somebody say that Ted Stepien really knew when he threw out those halftime parties or whatever he did that the NBA said, yeah, that's a good idea. Can't think anything that Stepien did was a good idea, but nonetheless, that's the way it is. 216-575-0403. Mary-Kay-Cabot is with us. Mary-Kay, what you're about to hear now is proof that there are too many NFL insiders out there in the world. Because Rob Ninkovich, an insider, ranked the NFC North quarterbacks. And here's what he had to say. There you have it. Lamar Jackson, number 1. Roethlisberger, number 2. Joe Burrow, number 3. And Baker Mayfield is number 4. And his logic for that is, has Baker Mayfield ever played better than what we saw from Joe Burrow last year? He has not done that. Mayfield has to show me more. When I watched tape from last year, he's very inconsistent. He played well against the teams that he should have played well against. And when there was a test on the line and he had to play against a team like, say, the Patriots, we remember the fumble that he had. That play in particular is pretty embarrassing. Last year it wasn't a great outing for Mayfield. He had some flashes of greatness, but then more question marks. We don't know. That's why he's number 4 for me. All of a sudden, they're comparing everybody to Bill Belichick and to Tom Brady all of a sudden. And I'm not sure that if you're Bill Belichick, you are concerned about whether Kevin-Stefanski is going to be a better coach from you 10 years from now. Yet we're hearing stuff like that all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, those quarterback rankings are very, very interesting. I keep looking at this AFC North and looking at these quarterbacks and thinking how interesting it's going to be over the next few years as we see. I mean, look at how young Baker, Lamar, and Joe Burrow all are. So, I mean, this could be a decade of these guys competing against each other. And then, of course, this year, it's very intriguing with Big Ben coming back off the elbow surgery. And it is hard to rank these quarterbacks because you don't know how it's all going to shake out. Will Lamar sustain what he was able to do last year? Will Baker Mayfield come back and be great in this Kevin-Stefanski scheme that is so quarterback friendly. How will Ben come back from his elbow surgery? And then how will Joe Burrow play in his rookie year? So I think it's one of the most intriguing quarterback lineups in the entire NFL, and I can't wait to see how it shakes out.
Have you heard anything out of Pittsburgh that doesn't say that Roethlisberger will be ready? I haven't heard any negative. I heard the assumption is he seems to be ready. What have you heard?
Well, I've heard that too, but once again, amid COVID-19, nobody really knows for sure. I mean, by now we would have all kinds of film on him throwing. We would see him in OTAs, at least in individual drills and things like that. And we just don't have that this year. We don't have a good handle on how it's going in any city, really. So there's a lot of mystery going on as we head into the season.
You touched on it in the previous segment, but I didn't ask you the direct question. If 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, where do you put the fact that the NFL will get underway and the week that they're supposed to get underway? 0 to 10.
You know what? I'm going to say 9. That they're going to start on time. That they will open the season the weekend of September 10th, the way that they're supposed to. I don't know how many fans will be in the stands, but I do believe that they will open on time.
Do you think putting fans in the stands is something the NFL wants to do right now, or they want to see what happens up until mid-season and see how the money without the ticket buyers, and I don't know how they're going to separate ticket buyers from non-ticket buyers, but what do you think? What is the most important thing as far as the fans are concerned in their mind? The health of the fans?
Oh, absolutely. I think that is foremost in everyone's mind right now. Health of players, fans, employees, that is the biggest thing. So, who knows if they're going to be able to, put, field full stadiums or not. We don't really know that yet. But I know that the effort is there for the NFL to get fans in those stands. I mean, they care about their fans, they cater to the fans, and they don't really want to be playing to empty stadiums. So they'll do everything they can.
Yeah, and I can't believe what we've heard from so many years is that they really don't need the fans in the stands or the ticket buying because television provides enough money. It's not possible that they would turn down 70,000 seats at $100 a seat or whatever that number is. So for them to say they don't really need fans in the stands is absurd from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, it really is. And it's just, it's a lot of jobs, it's stadium jobs. There's a lot that goes into it. So, and just the whole vibe of a game, home field advantage and different things like that. You want to jump into the dog pound, you want to do the Lambeau leap. It would be really, really weird not to have fans in the stands.
I haven't heard much about exhibition games. Are you assuming that's something they won't mind sacrificing at least for this year?
Yeah, I could see them giving up a couple of those if they had to. So that's one place where they, if they had to do something, they could probably sacrifice one or two of those games. But I think they would still like to get those into if they could.
Yeah, I heard for the first time the Jacksonville game was supposed to be in London. Did we know that? Had that been publicized before? It won't be, but it was. The people in Jacksonville are saying it is or was.
They had. The Browns had a good chance of playing the Jaguars in London. They had a very good chance of doing that. Obviously, that's not going to happen now, but they were one of the top candidates to do that.
216-575-0403, Mary-Kay-Cabot, plain dealer, and of course cleveland.com. If you'd like to talk to her, just give a shout out to Hey Mary Kay. You can do that. In the meantime, you can also explore your interests and find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future from Tri-C, which offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-edu for more information from Tri-C. We'll come on back. We'll take a look at a player that the Browns may have as a big surprise as a rookie. We'll take a look at that and more. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin Wallace, so I started at Baldwin Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get texts sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This stayed in sports history. That's all you have to know. We don't have to write a lot about it. 10-cent beer night. We've got some classic tape here you want to take a look at. And we'll move away from football for a couple of minutes and go back in time. June 4th, 1974. Watch number 21 in a Texas Rangers uniform.
The Arab oil embargo against the U.S. is lifted. Patty Hearst is kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army. And President Nixon is forced to resign as a result of the Watergate break-in and cover-up. The year is 1974, and our Indians are trying to get fans in the seats at Municipal Stadium. Ballpark promotions are the rage, and one of the most infamous 10-cent beer night took place on June 4th, 1974.
I thought, my God, look at all the people at the game. You know, we didn't have many people in here. We had maybe 3 times as much as we normally have. And I thought it was wonderful.
Fans are enjoying a rally that sees the Tribe tie the game at 5 with 2 runs in the ninth. Then with 2 outs and the bases loaded, some of the 25,000 faithful try to help the home team a little too much.
A couple of guys ran out. The right fielder then was Jeff Burrows. And a couple of fans ran out in the field, and one of them grabbed his cap. The Burrows chased him, and the fans came on the field. Oh, it was terrible. And, and then the Rangers players were out there, and Billy Martin was right in the front of them, and the Indians charged out in the field. They weren't fighting each other as much as they were fighting the fans to protect themselves.
One of the Rangers players caught in the middle of the whole mess is number 21, first baseman Mike Hargrove. Umpire Nestor Shylak tries to restore order and continue the game, but his efforts are in vain.
Nestor Shylak, forfeited the game, and later, after that, then we went down to interview him. He said, it was like a jungle out there, man. It was like a jungle out there. Somebody might have gotten killed, and he was right. It was terrible.
Who would think that a small riot would occur? But it did, and the game was forfeited. And I took a great deal of blasting about it, including, as I said, it was called in New York the next day. Explain why I did it.
He did it. The night before, I think they had 6,000 people. They had 24,000 that night. That was Ted Bonda. And by the way, Billy Martin incited everybody. He had a 5-0 lead at one point, and he was about to lose that, so he incited everybody and wound up getting the forfeit win. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary-Kay-Cabot is with us. Mary-Kay, the Browns may have a hidden gem on this roster, and they picked him in the 6th round. Not Tom Brady-ish, but another guy from Michigan, and a guy that could be a surprise. Donovan Peoples-Jones has played under offensive coordinators every year, 3 at Michigan and now a new one here in Cleveland. Randy Gurzy of Fan-Sided lists his pick for the Browns' surprise rookie. Let's take a look at what he has to say about Peoples-Jones and what he can do. And kind of surprising when you think about it, the Browns not being terrible for a lot of the years. Other than Josh Cribbs, haven't really had a punt returner or kickoff returner, and Peoples-Jones could be that guy.
Well, you know what? That is the plan, that he will come in and help out right away on special teams. Now, he might have a little bit more of a difficult time trying to get on the field as a wide receiver in the early going, but he can come in and make an impact right away on these returns. And if he lights it up and electrifies the stadium with, some big punt returns, that will be the quickest way for him to get on the football field as a receiver as well.
According to Gurzy, Donovan Peoples-Jones is a savvy route runner with excellent size and speed. His numbers in Michigan don't do his skill level any justice, and he could be a much better pro than he was as a college player. On top of that, he can get some success as a punt returner, something he can do again with the Browns. There are a couple of ways he can help the team, making him one of the better 6th round pick in the nation. And you take a look at what he has done at Michigan in his 3 years. In 2017, 22 catches, no touchdowns. In 18, he had 47 receptions, 612 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And in 19, he had 34 catches, 438 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And you can see the offensive coordinators that he had. In fact, none in his junior year. And punt returns, he had a total of 89, and 2 of them went for touchdowns. And, when you don't have that ability to take those punts and give yourself better field position, you're wasting one side of the football. I mean, Jim Tressel used to say the punt was the most important play of the game.
You know what? If they can set Baker-Mayfield up with some really, really good field position, if they can get some good returns this year, I think that will be so vitally important. Last year, they didn't really have that, and they didn't have a defense that was taking the ball away. They finished tied for 19th with only 20 takeaways last year. So they were not supporting Baker-Mayfield in that way. So hopefully for him and for the Browns, Peoples-Jones will come in here and make a lot of noise that way. Those plays can be so exciting. As was mentioned, remember back when Cribbs was returning the football and those were some of the highlights of those games. So hopefully for them, they can get back.
You go further back, you got Eric Metcalf, and remember the 2 touchdown punt returns that he had against Pittsburgh. By the way, I don't know if you noticed in that beer night piece that we had, that was in the 70s, the early 70s. Some of the hardest hits at the Municipal Stadium came that night as opposed to on Sunday afternoons. I don't know if you noticed
yes.
that.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, yes, you're right.
Yeah, 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You've got 3 great locations of Northeast Factory Direct, East, West, and South. And, of course, before you go anywhere, you want to go to the website, northeastfactorydirect.com. Sokolowski's University, and check them out at their website, see what the plans are to return, and you'll be supporting one of the great Cleveland restaurants in the history of this great city. We'll come back in a moment with Mary-Kay-Cabot. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone basement floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history. That in a comeback from 10-cent beer night, Les takes his kids to 25-cent root beer night. The Indians wanted to see if that promotional idea would float. And this being the last live show of the week, we go back with the week in review. Let's see what happened this past week in Les-Levine history. In 1983, Les misses 6 straight games due to a rare illness. He was sidelined with a broken bat. Very hard to recover from that. Then in 1969, Les breaks up a perfect game in the 8th inning with an infield hit, but fearing it might keep him out of law school for telling a lie, he argued with the umpire, claiming that he missed first base. The umpire overturned the call. Then we finish off the week with this gem. Les emceed a dinner in downtown Cleveland. This is in 2007. One of the honorees that night was the late Bill Veeck. Bill's son, Mike, on tape said, "You were there to honor the late Bill Veeck. I just want you to know he's not late. He's just not going to be there." I don't know if you were aware of that famous statement, Mary Kay.
That's funny. I love that. That's
Very
really
good. You can use it with proper sourcing. That'll be fine
you.
with me. Let's go to the phones. Jack is standing by in Erie, Pennsylvania. Jack, good evening.
Good evening, Les and Mary Kay. Good to talk to you. And I have a question about the Browns, but since you mentioned it, Les, real quick about 10-cent beer night. My dad was there, and he was frustrated because he and his friends stood in line, in the first inning so long, they missed, where they were. The lines were so long. And so he said they didn't even get very many beers because they wanted to watch what was a pretty big game. And Terry Pluto's book, The Curse of Rocky Colavito, has a great description with interviews with Joe Tate and Herb Score about that night. I'd recommend to anyone who wants to read it. But Mary Kay, my question is, if the Browns don't end up with Clowney, could it be intentional on their part? And, I know a lot of times this time of the year, calendar year, we see guys get cut. Do they think, or do you think there could be maybe a prominent linebacker or safety that could come on the market, which seem to be positions of greater need?
You know what? I really don't think they feel that way. I think they really are very interested in Jadeveon Clowney. I think they would like to sign him. I think they just need to get the money right. I think he has to have a comfort level with it. I don't think they're clamoring after any linebackers right now, and I feel they feel pretty comfortable with what they have at the safety position, especially since they drafted Grant Delpit. So I don't really see it that way. I think they're willing to spend money on an edge rusher, which Jadeveon obviously is.
Mary Kay, about the Delpit, if this was a regular year where you didn't have all the strange off-season goings on, would he be projected as a starter right from the beginning?
Yeah, and I think he still is. I think when you draft somebody in the second round, you expect them to start right away. And so right now, if the season were to start tomorrow, I would put Carl Joseph and Grant Delpit at safety. And I just kind of have a feeling it'll probably shake out that way.
Anything else, Jack?
Well, just real quick then, with Clowney, if we know they offered him the most money, and I apologize if you answered this earlier, where would you stop with the years? Would you give him a 2-year deal? Would you give him a 3-year deal? Or is it just that he wants a 1-year show-me deal with a ton of cash?
Well, there are a few ways that you could go about it. I'm not sure if he wants the shorter deal so that he could get back out and hit the jackpot in free agency again at the end of next year, or if he's looking for a longer term deal with a large signing bonus. There's so many different ways that you can approach it. So, I'm not sure which wants the shorter, which wants the longer, but I think that they should put their heads together and try to come up with something, because I think this would be a great landing spot.
Mary Kay, why do you think he hasn't had a deal of certain length this year? And I would have thought there'd been more activity for him on the free agent list. What do you think is holding it back? Because
Money.
$12 million is not an absurd amount.
Right. He started out wanting around 20 million. Then he lowered that to about 17 million. And if the Browns are offering 12, I think he's still holding out for more money and hoping that somebody's going to be willing to pay him that. So maybe he just has to get to the point where he readjusts his thinking, or maybe somebody will sweeten the pot.
Anything else, Jack?
No, that's it. Thank you guys very much. Enjoy the
Great
show.
to talk to you. Thank you very much. 216-575-0403. We go to Facebook. The lack of live sports has networks rebroadcasting classic games. What Cleveland Classic would you like to see? Well, Gerard Morelli says even though they would be very old-fashioned, black and white, why not show all the games from the 1948 World Series? I don't think they have. I don't think I've seen that. I've seen highlights. I've never seen the actual play-by-play. They showed Game 7 one time, and it was fun to watch, especially since they actually won that World Series in '48. Andy Mees says the game in which Bill Selby hit a walk-off grand slam against Mariano Rivera in 2002, Rivera blew the save like that. It was a rarity in his career. Dennis Davis, I don't know why he wants to see this again. Red Right 88 against the Raiders. Chris Ard says the 86 Browns-Jets AFC divisional game. That's the Mark Gastineau game. Glenn Berger, the Browns' 27-0 win over the Colts in the '64 championship game. And Larry Pantages says Cavs beat the Lakers in 4 overtimes in 1980. Dennis Eckersley's 1977 no-hitter, a 1-0 win over the Angels. And the Browns 45, the Rams 31 in 1957 as Jim Brown rushes 31 times, 237 yards with 4 touchdowns in that game. Mary-Kay-Cabot is with us. Mary-Kay, any Cleveland Browns game that if you had nothing to do tonight, you settle in your family room tonight and say, I think I'll spend some time watching such and such?
Yeah, I think I would watch the '64 championship game. I would enjoy that. And then I always, I would love to see some more of the Cardiac Kids and those Bernie Kosar years. So any of those would interest me.
Yeah, people under 35 have to go see the Kosar years to see what that was all about, because I think there's a lot of people who don't understand what the mood of the Browns fan was those days. It was really special for a 5-6 year period.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, to make it to the AFC Championship game in those years, it was great. And the team had such camaraderie, so many great guys on those teams. And it was just a fun time for Browns fans.
Well, if new people into town or younger people, hopefully they'll get to see this and see it very soon. 216-575-0403. We're going to come back one more time. We do the show live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't call at that time and you want to get a comment in, you can call us on the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason, the voicemail of truth and reason, which is 216-200-6650. Just leave us a message anytime, and we'll be happy to play it for you over the air on More Sports and Les-Levine, which is powered by cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone garage floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray-brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, it's the weekend winter edition with Dave Bacon, Dan Lobby, and Chris Fedor will be joining Dave. That'll be tomorrow night. Chris will have a lot to say about the fact that the Cavaliers are not included in the end of this season run here. And I'm not saying it's the wrong move. It's just a lot of talk about it. No question about that. Mary-Kay-Cabot is with us. Before we get some final comments with her, I want to get a couple of How Come Quickies in here. Now, this is from Big Ed. How come when the bartender saw Bono and Edge walk into the bar, he said, "Oh no, not you two again"? Musical reference. Big Ed says, how come when I got into an argument with my wife about which vowel is most important, I won? All right, I guess I is pretty important. Mr. Gullible has taken off for a few days, but he's back. John Patrick, I think, has gone AWOL on us. Mr. Gullible says, how come I thank my arms for always being by my side? I'm just reading them, Mary Kay. I'm just reading them.
I love them.
How come the skeleton wanted to ask out the pretty girl, but he didn't have the guts? Wow. All right, 216-575-0403 if you want to get in a quickie here, a quickie phone call and ask Mary Kay something about the Browns. Monday night, Ken Carman of 92.3 The Fan will join us. That'll be Monday night. Bud Shaw on Tuesday, Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday. Mary Kay, anything we forgot to touch on tonight that's new? I think every word has been regurgitated over and over and over again, so I'm not sure there's anything left to say when we see you each week. There's nothing new to cover. It's all been covered, but you must have a hidden gem somewhere.
Well, I mean, it's been an emotional week. It's been a very, very difficult week, obviously, for our country. It's been unbelievable for all the players. I mean, we've seen everything that's gone on, even just over the last day or two with Drew Brees and what he said, and coming out and having to apologize. So there's just so much going on in our country right now, and it's affecting all of the sports. It's really affecting the NFL. And, I think a lot of the Browns players have come out and they've written some very good essays on the topic. They've called, they've spoken out against racism. They've called to action. So have the coaches. And I think the Browns have been doing a good job of handling a very difficult situation.
When I first heard that Jarvis Landry came out with an impassioned plea, I started thinking, that should be in-house within the Browns and all. But you know what? The more came out of it, the more you see that was a tough thing for him to do and a necessary thing for him to do.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is a time now where this needs to be addressed. And I think that one of the really great things that Kevin-Stefanski did, and I think this said a lot about him as a coach, is he gave the players constructive things to do. He gave them a list. Here are some things that you can do to help make a difference. And I think that's good that he didn't just say, we need to end racism. Well, what does that mean? So he encouraged the players to vote nationally, to vote locally, to exercise their rights like that. And I don't know what else was on that list, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity to talk to players about that more as we move forward. But there's a lot going on, and it's going to be a story that continues on throughout the NFL. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of players kneeling during the national anthem. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of teams backing up their words and taking action to make this situation better. And there's just a lot more to come.
The thing with Kevin Stefanski is he had so many years as an assistant coach in Minneapolis, where that of course took place. So and there are a couple of coaches also who saw a lot of time in Minneapolis. So it sort of hits home to those guys. And I don't think those are empty gestures that were made.
Not at all. And you're right. It does hit home with him having spent so much time there. I mean, he just got back from there recently. oddly enough, he was back living with his family in Minnesota until probably about a month ago. And so, yes, I'm sure that it hits home for him. And just so much of this hits home in so many ways for so many in the NFL. And, I hope that there is some healing that comes from some of the things that Drew Brees said and some of the reaction to it. And, I applaud him for apologizing. I think that was very necessary for him to do that, not because he shouldn't be entitled to his opinion, but because right now was a time where that was hurtful to so many. And so I think he struck the right note with his apology, and hopefully other players will accept his apology, and some good can come from that.
Sometimes when you hear an apology like that, you look back and say, well, it's there's financial things or there's something else in it. To me, that sounded as legitimate as can be. I didn't see any phoniness in that.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's who Drew Brees is. I think it was genuine. I think it was from the heart. And I think that he realized what he needed to do. And I've seen some players such as Michael Thomas already accept his apology. And I hope that more players do the same.
All right. Mary Kay, as always, thank you. Tremendous job. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thanks for.
Okay, Mary-Kay-Cabot of cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. All right, that'll do it for us. Tomorrow night, Dave Bacon will have his weekend winners. Dan Lobby will be here with Chris Fedor. I'll be back on Monday night with Ken Carmen of 92.3 The Fan. Tuesday night, Bud Shaw. Wednesday night, it'll be Dennis Maniloff, and then Mary Kay on Thursday. That'll do it for us. Have a great sports weekend if you can. We'll see you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.